The Sharks have reached the midway point of the season and are starting to show little baby steps of improvement.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young. I've been covering the Sharks since 2018, also the caretaker of the Reef and the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, the number one sports podcast network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're going to be kind of diving into the Sharks season as it is, as we've now hit the halfway point, 41 games. Not a math guy, but 41 times 2 is 82. 82 games in a regular season. So we are here at the halfway point. So we're going to, as we've kind of done when we do like the quarter mark and stuff, and just kind of dig into the stats. This is a very stats-heavy podcast where we're going to look at how this Sharks team is performing, where it's kind of gotten better, where it's regressed a little bit, as we try to still figure out what this team is. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. All right, so your Sharks team currently fighting for a playoff spot, which is something I don't think any of us realistically thought would be happening when we got to the halfway point of the season. And I think today's a good idea to kind of figure out how they're doing it for San Jose, because this team, it kind of defies logic, and maybe that's a lot of just Macklin Celebrini is really good in dragging this team along. So we're going to kind of try to dig into some of the numbers today, see where this team's gotten better, because there has been some improvements, see where this team has regressed, and what this team needs to continue to work on. So the Sharks, 42 games in, have a record of 20, 18, and 3. They're currently 6th in the division with 43 points, point percentage of .524. They've scored 127 goals, and then they've given up 146 with a goal differential of -19. While the goal differential is not great, because it's kind of funny, actually. The whole Pacific Division, as I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon, the whole Pacific Division has a negative goal differential. Only the Vegas Golden Knights, the Vegas Golden Knights are at -1, Oilers are -4, and the Sharks are -19, which is I think second worst in the NHL, which is still a big improvement from where they were third worst. You have the Canucks and the Blues behind them. But looking even in the division, the Sharks 127 goals though is third in the Pacific Division, with only the Oilers and the Ducks ahead of them. Oilers have played a game more. They've scored more than Vegas, who does have 2 less games played. But like this Sharks offense has started to score goals, which is, go score goals, right? Scoring goals is cool. So that is one of the things, is I think we can safely say that this team will be able to score. And they have been able to do that pretty well. But when you look at, as we're going to dig into some of the underlying numbers here, there's still plenty of work to kind of be done with this. So right now, this team, when it comes to shots and shots for or shots allowed, this team is one of the worst in the NHL when it comes to creating offense or shot attempts. I think they're second worst. They've taken 1,622 shot attempts. It's the second worst. I think only the Dallas Stars, which was surprising, have less. And they've allowed 20.2 2,025 shot attempts. So their Corsi 4 is at 44.47, which is actually, they did improve that by 0.6 points. They were in the 43 percentile, or 43% at the quarter point. They have seen improvement there. The actual shots on goal, 751, again, one of the worst in the NHL, and shots allowed, 971. They did see an improvement there that went up to 43% shots for at 0.54%. So nothing major, but you are seeing improvements in the Sharks kind of heading in the right way when it comes to taking more shots and allowing shots, which is usually a big indicator of how your offense is, right? You need to take shot attempts to get shots on goal. You need to get shots on goal to score goals, right? That's pretty simple there. When it comes to expected goals, so these are looking at kind of the goals that the Sharks should be earning. So goals for, they've scored 82 goals at 5-on-5. They've allowed 96, which is at 46.07%. That is a drop. They were in the 48% there. So their 5-on-5 goals have dropped. Expected goals for, they've expected to create 74 goals, and they've scored 82 at 5-on-5. So the Sharks are outscoring over expectations when it comes to the goals. Expected goals allowed, 91.5. Goals allowed, 96. So they've given up a couple more goals than they should have. We'll talk about the goaltending here at the end of the show, but and then expected goals for, 44.734%, 1.44. So while they've given up the more goals, the expected goals is getting better, and it's getting a little bit tighter there, right? Because you do want to, you don't want to be you do want to be scoring more goals than expected, but that's where you get to some of the how real is this if you're kind of getting some puck luck here. So for San Jose. So I do think though, this does kind of, we'll get into the offense and stuff a little bit more here, but I do think it kind of shows that this team, their formula to win, right? They have to win these games really these close games, right? You don't see too many games where the Sharks you do occasionally, they'll win 6-1, 6-3 or something like that. But you're not seeing this team just put away teams, right? They have to win these games very close. But when they lose, you see games like the Lightning, right? Where it's just, or the Vegas game, right? Where it's just, when everything goes wrong, it definitely snowballs on them. So that's why you're seeing such a negative goal differential. That's why you're seeing, some of the stats lean toward be so heavily skewed, because just the style that this team is winning right now, they're not blowing teams out and putting teams away, right? How many overtime wins do they have? How many is it 1-goal games? Are they trying to hold on which is what you would expect for this team, right? This team is not anywhere near, this isn't, this team is not Colorado, right? Or this team isn't Dallas, where they can just put teams away and keep the hammer down and just run up the offense. It's not the Sharks team. They're a scrappy bunch that is riding Macklin Celebrini into superstardom, and they're going to, when things work, they're going to win some close games, and when they don't work, it gets ugly really fast. And so, but overall, though, we've seen some improvements from this team. Even from the quarter point of this season to now, and I know December wasn't maybe the best month for the Sharks, and a lot of kind of up and downs, and not a lot of consistency there. But you are seeing just slow improvements as this team is still trying to kind of figure things out here. So we're going to dig into both the offense and the defense in the next segment. Talk about what the offense is doing well and how you've seen improvements there. We'll talk about the defense as well, and some of the improvements from the defensive group here in just 1 second. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel's making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with the NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Just open up the FanDuel app during Happy Hour, and there's always something new. They have bonuses, boosts, and surprises, and the timing is perfect right before the games, right before the weekend starts. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern or 3 to 4:30 Pacific. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sports book partner of the NBA. All right. Of course, want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out the Everydayer Club. You get access to ad-free episodes of Locked On Sharks, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every major podcast app. And invite to members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord. They got a group chat for listeners of the Sharks, as well as some of the other fun stuff. They have a fantasy one. They got a bunch of fun stuff in there, as well as one-on-one texting with me. So go to lockedonsharks.supercast or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. So we've seen how this team is, kind of scraping by, and which has led to a lot of exciting hockey and has also led to some disappointing hockey as well. But this team continues to kind of figure things out. So offensively, at 5-on-5, this team is scoring 2 goals per game, which is an increase from the mid-season point at 0.1. Corsi 4 is at 39.6. Again, that's a shot attempt more than what we saw at the mid-season point, and shots for at 18.3 at 0.6. So that you have seen the offense starting to get things going a little bit here. Looking at from Micah Blake McCurdy, who does a great job over with his site, he has a heat map of where you can see the Sharks offense coming from. And this team, they do struggle from the face-off dots and stuff, but right in front of the net, this team that's their bread and butter is right there. We've seen it a bajillion times. They're not going to get a lot of shots, but when they do, it's typically quality. So quality over quantity has been the name of the game of the Sharks offense, is get to the net and try to create some havoc there. And it's been kind of working out for them for the most part. Celebrini, of course, leads the team when it comes to 5-on-5 points, 14 goals, 21 assists, 35 of Celebrini's points have all come at even strength for him. When I'm looking at the lines and which lines have kind of led the way when it comes to shot attempts, that Corsi number, I set this number at 40 minutes because we've had so many different line combinations and such, but interesting to see that Eklund is a big time driver when it comes to the shot attempts. So the Eklund-Wenberg-Gaudette line, which has played about 45 minutes, lead the way with 57% Corsi 4. And then you have Chernyshov, Celebrini, Graf. Chernyshov, Celebrini, Eklund. The line that's been put together 55 minutes is at 51.7% Corsi 4. That's the third best Corsi number. Again, this team gets outshot extremely heavily, game in and game night. They're at 44%. So these lines are really kind of pulling their weight when it comes to creating offense. But Chernyshov, Celebrini, Eklund, Wenberg, Kurashev, Eklund, Wenberg, Toffoli, all those lines with William Eklund is driving shot attempts. So, and I think those are if you're expecting William Eklund to continue to start to score more and more, these are positive numbers that he's out there when they're scoring, when they're driving shot attempts, and that positive regression for Eklund getting more offensive production should be coming. Just some of the other, I think, interesting lines. The Smith Celebrini to Foley line was at 44%, 44.8% to Corsi 4. Skinner, Dellandrea, Graf played about 44 minutes, 38%. And if that's like that line had played a lot and wasn't producing a ton, the Goodrow, Ostapchuk, Reeves line has played about 120 minutes, is at 46% to Corsi 4, which again, you're not projecting a lot of offense from that line, but you'll definitely take it from them. So, but yeah, just I think there's some, some positive things to take from here. And then there's some, I think the Sharks are going to have to try to make some decisions to try to kind of spruce up especially that third line so that way it's not such a kind of crater when it comes to creating offense from them. So switching to the defensive side, the Sharks have given up 2.34 goals allowed at 5.5. They've gotten worse by basically 0.3 goals since the midseason check-in. Corsi allowed, they've gotten a little bit better, not much, but a little bit better. They're 49.4 shots allowed per game at 5-on-5. Or shot attempts allowed, and then the actual shots 23.7, which is at minus 0.3, which got a little bit worse than the last one. Klingberg actually leads the Sharks at 5-on-5 time on ice. That's the difference from Orlov, who was leading in the first, and I think that speaks to how Klingberg has really kind of grown into his role as this season has gone along. Ferraro leads with blocks and hits for the Sharks among the defense, but this defensive group still struggles in front of the net, where they give up a ton of shot attempts right in front of the net and right down the middle. It's even from the points they give up a ton of shots from there, but yeah, like other teams just get in front of the net and just basically tee off in front of Nedeljkovic and Askarov. And when we get to the goalies, you'll understand why some of the goalies numbers are the way the goalie numbers are right now. So, but not this goes to where we've been kind of saying where the Sharks need to really try to improve the defensive group. This here, right, is just not letting other teams just kind of park in front of the net and tee off here. So as for the defensive pairing, so I set this at 100, about 35 minutes or so. It was 30 minutes. Anyway, looking at kind of the defensive pairings to see how they look for shot attempts. Dickinson-Desharnais is playing at 96 minutes. They lead the way at 54% shot attempts, Corsi 4. So Orlov Klingberg is the only other positive one. So anything 50% or below, and they're exactly at 50%. They played 50 minutes. Ferraro Mukhamadulin's next at 48.9. Orlov Ferraro, Orlov Liljegren. That pairing's played a ton of minutes together at 133, 45% Corsi 4. Then it kind of goes down from there. So, but yeah, Dickinson-Desharnais, that has been a really successful combo pairing. I know it's a little bit more sheltered, but when they're out there, they have done a good job of driving offense for the Sharks. And with Desharnais expected to get back here pretty soon, I wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks go back to that pairing, and especially if Mukhamadulin's going to be out for a little bit and maybe push up Iorio some. But that has been a very successful pairing. And yes, I know people are going to point to Dickinson's lack of production and maybe why it hasn't been a solid season. Did a little preliminary research, but out of all the centers that the Sharks have, the three main centers, right? Celebrini, Wenberg, and then Dellandrea. And I know the fourth line center has been a little bit iffy this year. It's mostly been a stop truck as of late, but those three guys have been kind of centers all season. Dickinson's been with the Dellandrea group the most this year. And we just talked about how that Delandry group has really struggled to score offensively. So is it, I think it goes back to is it the Sharks' fault? Well, you see the shot attempts, right? So when Dickinson's out there, they usually do a good job of driving offense and shot attempts, but Delandry's line really struggles to score. So that could be a big reason why you're not seeing a lot of production from Dickinson. So anyway, but defensively, you're seeing little steps progress, but it's still just going to be a major need for the Sharks to try to upgrade in some of these areas, or let some of their personnel continue their development here. But we're going to switch over to the special teams here in a second. We'll also talk about goaltending, which is spoiler, it's not great as of late. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. All right. Do, of course, want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Sharks ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head over to lockedonsharks.supercast to join the club. All right, let's do special teams here. So the Sharks power play is sitting at 18.8%, 26 goals for, which is actually up there when it comes to actual goals scored at 5-on-5. But the Sharks do get so many opportunities. They're one of the best teams in the NHL at drawing penalties. And this is, I think, an area where we're going to eventually see the Sharks start to improve more and more. Hopefully, and I think there needs to be some we'll talk about it a little bit tomorrow, but I think there needs to be some tweaks on the power play, because if the power play can really start to take off here, I think this is where you can see the Sharks team maybe not having to win so many squeaker type of games, but 26 goals for, which is solid. 6 goals allowed, which is really bad. One of the worst teams in the NHL when it comes to shorthanded goals allowed. Celebrini, of course, leads the Sharks when it comes to power play production. 4 goals, 13 assists, and 17 points. William Eklund also a second when it comes to power play production with 10 points. So, but like the Sharks, they do a good job of creating, getting in front and getting to the net. So I think they need a little bit more finishers and continue to take more shots. But I think the makings of a solid power play are definitely there. You can see the little, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see there's a nice place at the point or along the blue line where you can tell where John Klingberg takes shots. Just this nice little slightly brown spot. Brown is good on these ones, but where John Klingberg takes shots. So jumping over to the PK, Wolf. The kill rate 77.1. They've given up 30 goals on the penalty kill and have scored 2 goals for. I have those swapped, or no, I guess it's, I have a swap. 30 goals for. They've allowed 30 goals and they've given it. They scored 2, but still defensively just giving up a ton of stuff right in front of the net. Ferraro does lead the PK when it comes to time on ice at 333 a night. And then Graf and I think it's Delandry both have a goal for. So PK kind of goes back to this defensive issues, right? And hopefully again, getting some more talent on there and seeing what this group can continue to do, I think would be a big boost for the PK. But the goaltending. So I think this is if you look at especially November to December, in November where Askarov was just playing like a madman, the goaltending really has cooled off for the San Jose Sharks. And I think this is a big, you're seeing why the Sharks need to upgrade their defense, right? We just talked about especially on the PK and especially at 5-on-5 where the Sharks are just giving up so many quality shots and stuff right in front of the net. And you can only ask your goalies for so long before like the dam starts to break. So when looking at these Sharks net minding right here, it's definitely has, I think, taken a bit of a hit in December and lost some of its luster and shine. And it's one, I mean, we knew the way Askarov played in November is not sustainable. You can't go and expect a guy to go like 970 save percentage for his entire career. That's just, again, that's not a sustainable formula for San Jose, and especially with the way that you are allowing quality shots. So it's good to know Askarov can do that. But this goes back to the plea of you need to get more help in front of Askarov. But right now, Askarov, so he's got an .894 save percentage with .346 goals against average. He's got 14 quality starts out of his 27 starts this season, and I think 20's like Askarov's well on his way to being a 55. Right, was what 27 times 2 would be. That's 54 games right there. So, and even with the way that they started the season where it was very back and forth, like Askarov should be in line for 55 starts this year if he continues to stay healthy. Nedeljkovic has started 18 games, or started 14, excuse me, but it has played in 18 for San Jose. He's got an .890 save percentage with a .314 goals against with 6 quality starts from him. So, but the goals saved above expected, which isn't the end all be all, but I think it's a good, nice telling stat of kind of just what they've done. At the 20 game check-in, Askarov was like +6 or +7 goals saved above expected, and Nedeljkovic was right around 0, which is right what you would expect, right? It has both have seen just a massive plummet here. As Nedeljkovic is at -5.1 goals saved above expected, and Askarov is at -5.4, and he's played, as we said, much more games than Nedeljkovic here. So I think you're starting for Askarov and Nedeljkovic. Like, I'm not worried, like, especially Askarov, I'm not worried about Askarov, but I think you're starting to see what happens with the poor defense, where you're just giving up 2-on-1s and all these, odd man breaks and stuff. That's where you're starting to see those cracks in the foundation, I think, really start to affect the goaltending. So again, that's why the Sharks really should be active in trying to, yes, I know they have 1,000 defensemen, but they should be active in looking for upgrades at the defensive position, and to try to find some more long-term solutions, because that way you're not putting your goalies in these terrible spots all the time. And so, but I think, for San Jose, like we talked about earlier, like this team is, they're not in a position to kind of, blow teams out and to be, some sort of like juggernaut powerhouse right now. But they're learning how to win games scrappy. And like I said, when things don't go well, they tend to snowball for this team. So that's going to be kind of the next step is how do you not turn, every loss into a 6-1 or 7-3 type of performance? How do you kind of keep things, a little bit more respectable? So I think that's kind of one of the, next steps for San Jose is consistent, learning how to win consistently, but learning how to lose consistently. If that, or I don't want to say consistently, but like your losses don't just snowball into these ugly blowout type of performances. So I think that's one of their next steps. So we'll be back tomorrow as we're going to kind of talk about 3 big storylines to track as the Sharks head into the second half of this season. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok over at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tomorrow. Bye, friends.